Marthijn Pool, one of the 3 founders of Space&Matter, which in its core is a architectural and urban planning design office. We actually started asking questions ourselves, like what is our role, what is our position, what do we believe we have to offer to the built environment, how can we make the built environment more sustainable, look after the people that need affordable housing, really push the projects we believe in most. And that makes us kind of a unique kind within the spectrum of design offices worldwide. Can we also maximize ecosystem restoration, include biodiversity and actually integrate landscapes? Can we allow people to interact with us and opening up the design process to sit with us when thinking through and talking through what the future project actually has to offer to the end user? And that allows us to make our projects perform holistically, become more sustainable and more close-knit to the people that will eventually use these projects. So it's way more than just aesthetic performance of an architecturally designed building. It's the social value that's embedded in it because of the process we envision, and the environmental value that's embedded in it because we believe we should create the built environment not separated from a natural environment, but be part of the natural environment. So there is the willingness to actually invest more in the sustainable performance of the building, because it's a return on investment in the long run, which makes sense if you're in it for the long run. And we see that through our approach, we can raise the bar and raise the ambitions for our projects to come to life, which sets them apart from the rest. We want to work as integral as possible. We have a very strong holistic design approach, but in order to achieve what we want to achieve, we are the ones that have to stitch it all together, from the design discipline, but also the financial parameters, the environmental affordance, the social value which we want to maximize in our projects. So it's actually the design approach and thinking like a developer, or the system thinking and the architectural training which we have. If you're capable of unlocking the expertise of the various experts and really integrating that holistically, you have to have a higher quality of design. So that's what we're also aiming for, and this is our approach in trying to reach that higher goal. The Common Woods project is a neighborhood project. It consists of 56 households representing a wide spectrum from society, from affordable housing to middle segment housing towards even high-end freestanding villas, and thinking through the lines of what does this neighborhood have to offer to its residents, also to make it energy self-sufficient. And there's a smart grid that's being implemented in this project. There's even decentralized sanitation in this project, where we collectively treat the grey water and the black water to be also self-sufficient from the sewage point of view. So this makes the neighborhood self-sufficient, socially inclusive, embedding biodiversity back into the built environment. Schoon Schip is a unique project in its sense that it's not built on land, but it's actually sitting in the water. It's a floating neighborhood project consisting of 46 households in this case. And by being in the water, it also allows us to rethink what actually the built environment is. And it's all of a sudden, it's not static anymore. It's not a static building, it's a dynamic building. If the sea level rises, the neighborhood rises. But it also allows us to think through lines that even go beyond architecture and beyond the hardware of urban planning. It makes us think about, where is the energy coming from? Can we produce the energy we consume ourselves? Can we sanitize the black water which we create ourselves? Can we extract heat from this sanitation process? Is there even small-scale food production that could be embedded in this neighborhood scale? So thinking through the lines of a micro-society, you might say, 46 households living together as a small self-organized satellite in the water, not connected to the infrastructure on the land because they harvest the energy from the sun themselves and they distribute it equally amongst their neighbors, which also makes you a lot more aware of what is the resources we need to rely on and how much do we actually produce and how much do we have in stock. We have to become more aware consumers. There's only one planet and we need to share it with 5, 6, 7 billion people in the end. So let's be aware of how much do we consume and how much can we produce ourselves. It's really a living system, which is a full package that operates and that actually offers more to its residents than a regular building. It's mostly families and kids growing up in the neighborhood. And what I hear them expressing is actually the sensation that you really feel the change of seasons. You see the water occasionally freezing in winter, but there's birds nesting in summer. You can go out for a swim and you really feel that you're part of a dynamic living ecosystem. If we do something, we don't want to do it just for once. It has to be replicable and scalable. We're very fortunate to be sitting in the city of Amsterdam and actually explore our terrain and push our knowledge boundaries, living in a context that's very open-minded. So that allows us to really showcase these pilot projects or first stage projects. And then from the city of Amsterdam and actually the larger context of the Netherlands, get out into the world. And I think the Business of Design Week and the Asian context might be a very fruitful context for us. As one of our first endeavors in China, in another cultural context, in another kind of society, another financial reality. The hospitality aspect brought us to Chonghua, where we've created a radically new kind of interpretation of a hotel concept, which is a hotel consisting of multiple buildings, a restaurant building, a spa building, the reuse of an old factory building where we actually reactivated the fertile land of the river into a wetland again, a very fruitful, fertile ground where the buildings and the natural ecosystem actually become one. And we believe that this ecotourism is leading the way also in the direction where the built environment will go towards, and really imagining buildings that are actively engaging in their natural environment. You really open up your awareness and find new ways of how do we actually live together, how do we take part in the natural ecosystems. Entering this natural context, which is a beautiful garden of course, and you see a tea pavilion and a coffee pavilion and a small restaurant, and it's a designed garden, but it's cultivated and actually it's an agricultural garden. Everything you see is edible, even though it's herbs or tomatoes or even coffee plants, and the coffee you drink at your table is from its direct original context. So actually the chef in the kitchen is just as much the farmer preparing the food. He just takes almost from his window out of the land. You can bring your kids to do the harvesting together before you go to dinner, and why not collect the tomatoes and the herbs ourselves? Part of this organism, part of this loop, which is very obvious, but which we have grown apart from. So that's something we want to re-establish. Considering the very high densities and being dealt with in large cities as Hong Kong or Guangzhou or Shanghai, even Beijing, we also have developed a prototype for vertically organizing neighborhoods that also have a maximum of social value and interaction and enhancing the biodiversity, but still maintaining the proposition of a socially inclusive, self-supportive, organized neighborhood. If you're capable of explaining a project that has been tested and validated already before, the follow-up and the speed of development is enormous in China. Like working in the Netherlands and in the European continent, decision making is very slow and thinking through and iterating, whereas in China things are very fast. So as soon as we're given the opportunity to actually showcase what we've done before and find the right coalition of partners, then things can go really fast at a larger scale. And that's what we believe China has to offer to us, and that's what we have to offer to China.